Hello. Am I loud and clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we start. Let's just wait for the others, siguro. But we can start because I'm already recording the class naman. I'll upload it afterwards. So today we're going to discuss the second part of the SDLC, which is the analysis phase. So I think we will be ending, not really ending in here. Uh, kumbaga sa 4 SDLC phases, we will be tackling more on the analysis phase. Then we will be proceeding a bit with the design phase, but this is more tackled during your software engineering subject, which will be next semester. So, yung design saka yung implementation phase kasi, this is more discussed on the software engineering side of system development. So, here goes. You will be, after this discussion, you will be having your first output as a group. So, I hope that you have your project ideas with you so that you can have an output for this one. So, for the analysis phase, so, di ba we have what's the first phase again in SDLC?
Planning phase.
Planning, di ba?
Yes.
So, you have the planning and then you have the analysis phase. So, with this, wait lang. Bakit hindi siya nagna-next? Okay. Okay, so analysis refers to breaking a whole into its parts with the intent of understanding the part's nature, function, and interrelationships. So basically, analysis phase is breaking down the system into different parts or modules. It depends on the nature or the functions or the interrelationships of the said parts of the system. So in the analysis phase, the systems analyst works extensively with the business users of the new system to understand their needs from the new system. This is the part where interviews are being conducted, and then at the same time, as the users discuss what they really need, you're going to determine naman na kung ano yung mga kailangan yung gawin as a team or as the programmers or as the developers of the system. So the basic process of analysis involves 3 steps. So you have to understand the existing situations. So the as is system, what is the current or the current system of the organization that you're trying to improve or you're trying to change if you will be changing it thoroughly. Then you're going to identify the improvements. Okay, you're going to identify the improvements that you wish to conduct. And then, of course, lastly is you need to define the requirements for the new system. Like, bakit nyo nga ba siya ginagawa? What is the purpose of actually creating your system? The to-be system. Okay. So, before you proceed to the analysis, to the paper that you need to finish or the things that you need to accomplish, of course, you need to determine first the requirements. Kung ano nga ba yung rene-require ng ating user. Okay, so ano po yung rene-require ng ating user? So, the requirements determination, this is performed to transform the system request high-level statement of business requirements into a more detailed, precise list of what the new system must do to provide the needed value to the business. So, this detailed list of requirements is supported, confirmed, and clarified by the other activities of the analysis phase. So, this is creating use cases, building process models, and building a data model. So, today we're going to discuss the first activity of the analysis phase, which is creating use cases. Kasi, actually, the use cases is like the most needed one when you're going to create a system. This is like your blueprint of the whole system that you're going to do. So, ayun. Wait. Okay, next one. What when we say in system development, what is actually the requirement? Ano ba yung requirement na sinasabi natin? So, is it the same with like having requirements in school or something like that? So, with this, requirements are simply, or a requirement is simply a statement of what the system must do or what the characteristic it needs to have. So, ano ba talaga yung ginagawa ng system? So, it really is a good practice if at this point, dito sa analysis pa lang, you are really sure what is already the requirement of your system to avoid overboarding. So, what do we mean by overboarding is, halimbawa, you're developing your system already. Tapos bigla kang uy, may nakita akong feature nung system nung kabila. Lagay kaya natin. Parang ganon. So, it's unnecessary, but you want to do it. So, kasi pabibo ka, pabida ka, ganon. But it's not at all part of the requirements of the system. So, what you're going to do is to go back to your requirements na pasok ba or necessary ba yung changes na gusto mong gawin. Okay, but if you're doing waterfall, of course, or waterfall framework, that's not applicable, adding requirements when you're already creating or developing your system. So, this is a good thing that you need to thoroughly master or thoroughly do. Then decide if it is like the finish, is it andito na lahat ng requirements in order for you to proceed to the next part of your development. Ayun. So, during this part, requirements will be created that describe what the business needs. So, you have your business requirements, you have your user requirements, you have your functional requirements, and the non-functional requirements, and also the system requirements. So, when we say business requirements, this will define the overall goals of the system and help clarify the contributions it will make to the organization's success. So, it doesn't mean that when you're creating a startup project, that you will not be considering the business side already. Since you're doing a startup project, of course, you should need to learn the business side of the startup as well. Not just because you want to create an NFT game or something, a food hailing application, a ride hailing application, or a dating app for Deva Vizcaya or something like that. Wala na siyang business aspect, especially with the dating app side. Hindi porque like it's just a dating app, whatnot. What is the business behind it? Why are you doing this? Who are your target users? Something like that. Are you going to accept ads? Are you going to have like a premium feature? Something. You should always consider the business side of things. Okay. So, yeah. The example of business requirements include increase the market share, shorten order processing time, reduce customer service costs, etc., etc. So, with our example, let's say the food delivery app. Like you're doing it for you, like you're going to start a business of food delivery app, then what are the things that can be improved in your current business? Or of course that's a startup, so wala pa siyang current business, so you can still consider this like okay, shorten yung order processing time since it's just delivery, then convenience of the users, ganyan. Then ayun, you should always consider those things when you're tackling business requirements. Okay, so if you have questions, feel free to interrupt me, okay? Thank you. Anyway, so functional requirements, this relates directly to the process of the system. So rekta siya, and the system has to perform as a part of supporting a user task or information it needs to provide as the user is performing a task. So, the International Institute of Business Analysts defines functional requirements as the product capabilities or things that the product must do for its users. So, some examples are like schedule a client appointment, ganyan. So, the functional requirement associated with that task is to determine the client availability, find available opening matching client availability, select desired appointment, record appointment, and confirm appointment, etc. So with one business requirement, so one business requirement right here, you can have multiple functional requirements that associates with that business requirement. So as we have here, for example, order food in a specific restaurant. So what are the functional requirements ordering food faster in a specific restaurant. So what are the functional requirements associated with that task? Is the to determine the availability of the store? Is it open? Do they what determine the process time of the order? Ganyan. And then what else? Uh, determine the length of delivery from the store to the house when the rider will pick it up, sa other things like that. So yun yung functional requirements. It is part of the system that will parang part siya ng system na magdedetermine kung paano trumabaho yung isang organization or kung paano trumabaho yung business na kinikater nyo. Sabi ko nga, business is a very relative term. In our discussion, I'm not just talking about business, but of course, kung ano yung organization nyo na kinikater for your project, yun yung kailangan yung uh, tignan, kumbaga. Nagtutunog na naman. Tunog inspirational speaker na naman ako. Anyway, so this is like an example of a functional requirement. So you have the process-oriented and then you have the information-oriented. So I have the description right here. A process that the system must perform, and for the information that the system must contain. So as you can see here, the different examples. You should take note if it is applicable to your title or to your target project. Anyway, so next is we have the non-functional requirements. So parang, ma'am, non-functional naman sila. Bakit pa natin kailangang i-eme, diba? So no, but it is a part of the system. So you need to consider this as well. So, the IIBA defines this group of requirements as the quality attributes, design and implementation constraints, and the external interfaces which a product must have. So, this requirement category includes important behavioral properties that the system must have, such as performance and usability. The ability to access the system through a mobile device would consider as a non-functional requirement. So these are requirements that are primarily used in the design phase when decisions are made about the user interface, the hardware, the software, and the system's underlying architecture. So this is an example of a non-functional requirement. So operational, so description, the physical and technical environment in which the system will operate. So you can determine if the system will be web-based or mobile-based, integrated with what kind of system that is existing. It should be able to work on any web browser or in Android phone, something like that. Performance, speed, capacity, and reliability of the system. Ganyan, kung gaano kabilis dapat yung system, it should be catered, it should cater 100 users at a time, mga ganong emeru. Ayan, security, sino ba yung mga nakaka-access sino yung mga nakaka-access nung system or the admin rights. And cultural and political. So, cultural and political factors, legal requirements that will affect the system. Ganyan. So, is your system allowed in the whole Philippines or is it na-access ba to ng buong mundo, mga ganyan. Tapos ano yung mga restrictions sa mga batas like data privacy, and is it protected with the Data Privacy Act or something like that. You should always consider those. So this is what you're going to do today. So for your group, this is a group activity, group output. So this will be your first group output. So you will be having 3 outputs for today. Ayan. So this is a system proposal. This is the output of the analysis phase. So you have your functional requirement here sa taas. And then you have your non-functional requirement here sa baba. So you have to consider your system, anong gagawin niya, and ano yung mga non-functional requirements as well. Ayan. So, this is just the first part of our discussion. Sabi ko nga, we have 3. Eme. Then, afterwards, after you created this system proposal, you're going to proceed with the next step, which is the use case. Use cases are the most essential, as I said a while ago, the most essential part of creating your system. Why? Because the output for the use cases, the use case diagram, and the user stories are actually your blueprint in order to start your system. Ito na yung pinaka-roadmap nyo, kumbaga. Okay, so for use cases, this means of expressing user requirements. So, a use case represents how a system interacts with its environment by illustrating the activities that are performed by the users of the system and the system's responses. Ano ba yung kailangan ni user para masolusyonan or para mag-respond si system? Like, yon, sabi ko nga. Kung, wala yung battery na isa. Anyway, ito pala. So, ano nga ba yung magpapatrigger kay user or kay system para gawin yung gusto ni user? Okay. So, the goal is to create a set of use cases that describes all the tasks that the user needs to perform within the system. So, a use case depicts a set of activities performed to produce some output results, and each use case describes how an external user triggers an event to which the system must respond. So, how are you going to do this? The first thing is you have your user stories. Ayan. So, ano nga bang kwento ng buhay? Charot. Hindi porke story, kwento na. Pero yeah, same thing. Anyway. So, user stories, these are one or more sentences in the everyday or business language of the user or customer that captures what the user or customer wants to achieve throughout the software. Then, they tell a short story about how the user, customer, or other persona will use the system and what benefits they derive from the functionality. So, the goal of this is to provide context, which helps the product owner effectively manage and rank the backlogs and help the team understand how to implement functionality with the goals of customers in mind. So, what you're going to do with this is, you have to consider 3 things. The who, the what, and the when. Why pala, sorry. The who, the what, and the why. So, first is the who. Sino yung involved? Who is the person involved in the user story? So, who wants the functionality? Sino yung may gusto no functionality na yun? And sino yung makikinabang? So, if it's the admin or the user or the customer, the student, you will be determining your users at this point. So, typically, we use a role or a persona so that everyone has a rich understanding, ganyan. So, avoid roles that are too general, like user, ganyan. So, instead, use roles that help the team imagine for whom they are building the software. Some stories have a system as the who. Okay, so even very technical stories should describe what customer or user benefits. So, then, second one, you have the what. Ano yung gagawin nung ano yung gusto niyang mangyari? Ano yung rene-require niya dun sa system? So, what in the user story specifies the need, the feature, or functionality that is desired by the who. Ano nga ba yung hinahangad mo sa buhay? Parang ganon ba yung peg niya? So, this is what the team will build into the software or the services. So, the what should be clear so that the team knows what to design and build. So, sabi ko nga sa inyo, this will be your blueprint and what you're going to do with the system. That's why this should be clear para walang confusion in the future. Oh, sorry. Oh, no. Ayan. Okay. Then, finally, the why. Bakit? Bakit mo kailangan yung specific na function na yon? So, sasabihin ni who kung bakit niya kailangan yung specific na yung what. Yun lang yung why. So, the inclusion of why gives user stories their richness. So, the why is important context that helps the team design solutions that meets the real needs of users and customers. So, the why is also critical in agile since it is a value-driven approach to software development. And then the why kasi, it gives the value front and center, helping the product owner with ranking. So you cannot find the why for a story, you might have a story with no value. A good thing of using why as well is to determine the flow of your system. Like, bakit kailangan ni user na mag-log in? So that he can access the system. Okay? The user will access the system. Therefore, that's the first one. Then next, as a user, I want to, as an admin, I want to add users for the system so that the users can access the features of the system, something like that. And then of course you're going to as an admin, I want to edit the information of the user, of a specific user, so that if there are mistakes that I committed, I can check it, blah blah blah. So yun nga, nauna na ako sa template. Anyway, this is a template on how you're doing use cases. So you need to take note of 3 things. The who, what, and why, of course. Then, ito yung elements sila. Where is my, ano yung ball pen? Ay, ito pala. Okay, so, pen. So, the first part is as a. Yeah, perfect. Then, I want to, and then so that. So, this is your who, this is your what, and then this is your why. So, the structure of the use case, the user story is as a or as an, then I want to or I can, then the verb, and then so that your reason, so that I'm able to have a personalized experience. And so the user as Tom, I want to only see blah 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 so that I can view relevant updates during my time online. Something like that. So for example, if you're going to create a food delivery app, as a customer, I want to order using my phone so that or as a user, as a customer, I want to order food from multiple restaurants so that I can maximize the usage of the app, blah blah blah. You can have that. Okay, so getting started. How to get started with user stories. A simple statement in the user story format gets us started, but doesn't tell the whole story. So the team needs more. The 3 C's are indicate the elements of the user story. You have the card, conversation, and the confirmation. So the first one is the card. Ayan. Ba't ngayon lang ako nag-ballpen? Ano? Okay, so you have the card. Delete. Okay. So you have the card. So this is an overview of the who, what, and why of a user story. So basically, you're going to encode every user story that you have in like index cards. Well, you can have it like virtual index cards because we're online and all of that stuff. But basically, you have to do this when you're really in the field or in the software development. You really need to print this out, like really in an index card, because this can be helpful. This is actually helpful when you're dealing with the other C's. So, okay, the index card metaphor. represents small space for telling us, ano yan, story, and the fact that stories should be easy to move around as you rank the backlogs. So the card captures the general idea and is a promise for a conversation. If you're talking with your clients kasi, you have those cards, right? Like, lapag. Parang fast talk ba ni Boy Abunda. Ito po, register, I want to reset my password, yada, yada, yada. So the user will say that, yeah, that's what we want. Eh, ilagay mo siya sa G. Or, pag may user story kang nagawa, tapos we don't like that, we don't really need that, ilagay mo sa X, ganon. So, basically, you're sorting, then after that, you sort it according to portals, and then according to the arrangement, and then afterwards, you have your perfect array of user stories that would be needed when you're going to create your use case diagram, which will be discussed later on. Ayan. Okay, so you have your conversation. So, ayun nga. The cards provides the basis for a conversation between the product owner and customer, or customer and then the delivery team. So, during your conversation, you will be discussing, as I said a while ago, you will be discussing each card, if it is G or not. So, you ask, the team often asks questions. So, for example, for our password reset example, ito yung need, di ba? Like a registered user, yada, yada. Ito yung need nila. Yan. So, ano yung mga... Wait lang. I want to reset my password, ganyan. So, you will talk into detail with the specific use case. Like, ano ba yung authentication na kailangan natin inside it? What information do we need to collect about the users, and are there different types of users that we have to worry about? Does everyone have the privilege to reset their passwords? Or is the password parang do we need to have like a 2FA in the email, or just you let the user change their password anytime they want? Do they have a 30-day lock-in when they're changing their passwords? Something like that. Okay. So the whole team can participate in these discussions, and different roles and different viewpoints will surface different questions and concerns. Okay. Next one. The confirmation. So the results of the conversation should be captured as acceptance criteria. A well-defined user story is testable. So how will the product or owner confirms that the story was implemented properly? Acceptance criteria are the conditions of satisfaction and acceptance for the story. So the product owner and the delivery team work together to provide acceptance criteria and remove any ambiguity from the user story. So dapat after ng conversation is defined na lahat ng requirements ng system mo. So, for example, with this one, for our reset password, the discussed na username, password, and email address are all required, can be provided, but it's optional. Passwords can be 6 to 200. Ang haba naman. Anyway, passwords should be stored, encrypted, and cannot be decrypted. Okay, do you have any questions before we proceed? Okay, I think that's none. Oy, chismis. Charis. Wait lang ha. Okay. Okay, so, wala. I'll take that as yeah. Bahala kayo dyan, Okay.
Ma'am,
Oh.
ano yung groupings pala namin?
Di ba final na?
Ayun yung nilagay mo dati dyan?
Oo.
Okay, ma'am.
16K. Okay, so, yeah, we proceed to the use case diagram. Uubusin nito oras natin. Anyway, so use case diagram, this is a kind of unified modeling language. So, Diagramming na siya. So, basically, we're begin drawing things. This provides a graphical overview of the goals users wants to achieve by using the system. Use cases in a use case diagram can be organized and arranged according to their relevance, level of abstraction, and impact to the users. They can be connected to show their dependency, inclusion, and extension relationships. So this is an example of a use case diagram. So as you can see here, you have your your users, and then you have your case story. So these case stories are extracted from your user stories. Ayan. So, I recommend using, no discards. I recommend using Asta, La Vista Baby. So, Asta, ASTAH, yan yung app. This is the application. I'm going to close it muna para ano, no. For you to see what Asta looks like. So, you can download this. This is a trial version actually. Yes. So, but if you're a student, you can actually have a free Asta UML. Or you can simply crack it. Bakit ba? Ayan. So, this is like the screen, the home screen of Asta. Then, you can create a new here. Then, click on diagrams. Then, add use case diagram. So, this is the itsura of the use case diagram. So, before we start, maybe we should create some user stories first. Okay. Ano, I want word na lang. Delete slide. I'll close this na ha. Then maybe let's just have si Akla ay sa kabila mo. Okay. So let's have a basic use case, a user story for a login form. As a or an, then I want to, so that. Okay, so as an, wait, ano ba? Para mas mabilis. LMS na lang, sige. Para hindi na tayo masyadong mag-isip. Tapos sa user management. As an admin, I want to log in to the system so that I can access the system. So, you can have like as an admin pa rin dyan. Then, I want to, or maybe, view all the users so that I can monitor who has access to the system. Then, next is you have the I want to add a user so that I can add a user, wait lang. So that I can add people who wants to access the system. Something like that. Then, edit na lang. Sige, last. Edit a user so that I can edit the user's data if there are mistakes. So, okay. Let's have this one. So, you have as an admin, you have to log into the user, view the yada. So, ito yung user stories natin. Kunwari lang. So, this is basic code without the delete. Then, we have a login part. So, take note of that. So, we're going here sa Asta. We have only one user, which is the admin. You can see the tao here. Tao icon right here. So, just click that. Actor. Then, you write admin. So, magiging name niya dito sa baba is admin. And then, you're going to you look for the belong right here. Use case for the first use case. And then, you're going to have login to the system. Okay, so the structure in creating a use case right here, the first word should be a verb and the noun is the second one. So like view page, add login system, ganyan, add user, blah blah blah. So blah blah blah. Ay, sorry. Anyway. Then, ayan. Then you do the connections. You look for the arrow. Where's the arrow? Associations. So, then you, ilinya mo na yan. Ayan. This is not like ERD. This is like a crazy thing. So, yung paglalagay ng, user, sige, ipakita ko na nga din. Then, you just add like a stereotype right here. So, this is 1.0. So, bakit 1.0? Because it's like the first thing that you're going to do when you're going inside the system. So, kailan siya nagkaka 1.1, 1.2, 1.3? Kapag, okay, sige, sabihin ko na. Shucks! Okay, so, meron kasi tayong tinatawag the extend and include. This is in terms of dependencies sa loob ng isang diagram. Okay, wait. Tapusin ko lang to. Para, okay, so log in. And then, after logging in, you have your show main page. Kunwari lang. Main page. Hey. Okay, show main page. Okay. So, is this first, puta na, alibad pa rin ako, sorry. Kailangan magka-size sila. Hindi pa rin sila magka-size. Bakit gano'n? Ayan. Okay, so, is this use case right here dependent with the first use case above? Parang kailangan mo ba munang gawin to bago mo makita to? True or false? Okay. Guys? Ito bang show main page dito, is it dependent with the first use case sa taas? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, so dependent siya. Therefore, it should be connected with each other. So, there are two dependencies. You have the extend and you have the include. Okay. So, the difference between the two is include is, it is a requirement. You have to finish this first before proceeding to the other. Extend is like an option. Parang ikaw, charot. So, extend is an option na it can be or cannot be the direct pupuntahan, kumbaga nung natapos na use case. So, for example, with this one, since automatically na after nitong login is magsho-show yung main, therefore, the connection is include. Automatic siya eh. Parang, wala namang ibang choice na pupuntahan yung use case kundi sa show main page. Tama ba? Uwan ko na ilatan. Okay, so, precise ko lang to. Okay, show main page. And then we have we have 3. View users, add, and edit. So, create view users. Add users, and then you have edit users. Okay, so this is included in the first one. So this is like under this use case. Therefore, the stereotype will be 1.1. Ayan. So you have these 3 right here. Tama ba ginagawa ko? Oh, yeah. I'll let you decide naman. After showing the main page, this is the requirements of the admin. We're going to view all users, add user, and edit a user. What do you think is the sequence of the use cases? May priority ba? pantay-pantay ba sila ng priorities or option lang silang lahat? Anyone? Apo? Anyone? Anyone o magtatawag ako?
Pantay-pantay, ma'am.
Pantay-pantay sila. Okay, since that, if you have your database subject already, na, di ba, you have your, IM, your database subject, pwede ba tong gawin ng, hindi naman sabay-sabay, pero gawin siya na not actually doing the first one? Ganun kasi pag pantay-pantay, like, pwede ako mag-add, pwede ako mag-edit agad, pwede ako mag-view agad, ng, kahit hindi ko nagawin yung add sa kayong edit. Gets? Parang gets ba? Ganun kasi siya pag pantay-pantay.
So,
Lo.
in sequence siya, ma'am. Dapat.
Ano yung mauuna?
Add user.
Add user. Thank you, Kyle. Anyone, baka may galit dyan, baka may may kokontra sa opinion ni Kyle.
Okay naman po yung sinabi ni Carl.
Na?
Ma'am, yung add user, ma'am.
Add user muna. Okay, so taas
Yes,
natin
ma'am.
to. And then, ito muna. Okay. Tapos, yung view sa ka-edit, pantay ba o hindi?
Pwede na silang pantay, ma'am.
Okay, pwede na
Siguro.
silang pantay. Okay, so let's just have it. Is this, pag nasa main page ka, say that this is really the main page of your system. Is it dependent with the main page or is it an extension of the main page?
Yes po, ma'am.
Anong yes?
Extension niya po yung main page, yung add user, tsaka mga view user, edit user, ma'am.
Okay, so extension siya ng main page. Therefore, anong connection natin sa kanya is extend. Okay, take note of this, guys. Pag extend siya is palabas. Ayan. Include is papunta, extend is pabalik. Sa arrows, ha? Okay. Then, since this is an extension, we can have this as a new stereotype, which is 2.0. Since it do it like, yeah, basta. Explain ko yan further, yung stereotyping na next time. Okay, so, kay view users at edit users, pantay sila, right? Tama ba? Yun ba yung sinabi natin? Okay, sabi natin yan, ha? Kailangan mo bang mag-add ng user bago ka maka-view at maka-edit?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Therefore, this is include. Ba't naka-extend yung... Sorry. Naka-extend yung arrow. Okay, so you have to have it include. Yup. Then another arrow. Hoy, sa bang arrow? Kapag hindi nagpakita, you can just do it like this. Okay, include and include. And then this is 2.0 and then you can have like 2.1 and then you can have it like 2.2. Okay. So, hindi ko sinabing tama yan. Hindi ko rin sinabing mali yan. This is how you analyze your system. Okay? This is how you analyze your user stories. According to this user story that we did, ito yung na-analyze nyo na use case diagram niya. So, sabi ko nga, it's opinionated in a way na kung paano nyo siya i-discuss. Siyempre, if I have questions, you're going to answer. Bakit mo lilagay dyan? That if you defended it, then they go. Push mo yan. Basta gets mo yan pag nag-develop ka na. Parang gano'n. So, that's how you do use case diagram. Then, if you finish all of this one, like, kasi if you're going to create user stories, diba? We have just created this first part. Like, this is the CRUD of the user. Then, you're going to determine, of course, other functions of your system. Then, you're going to create also the use case diagram part of that. So, magiging super laki to. May example ba ako ng thesis dito? Wait lang. Shape. Thomas. Then, this is like, ay shit, yung system to. Test cases, yada, 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 siguro ito. May latest dito, 11 na 19. Ito. So, ito yung sample ng isang use case sa isang, thesis. Bakla, walang appendices. Ano ba yan? Saan yung final na ito? Ay, ito ata. Hello, wala pa rin appendices. Anyway, sige na nga. Gantt. Ito, ay class yan. Class diagram. User stories. These are user stories. Use case. Ano tawag ulit dito? Use case specification. Okay, this is like an example of a use case. User stories. Ito yung user stories. Ayan. Ano yung mga kailangan nila doon sa loob ng system. Then, you have your use case diagram. This is our use case diagram. Boom! Boom! Basag. Yan siya kalaki. Rotate nyo lang yung screen nyo. Ito siya kalaki. Then, you have your use case diagrams here. Then, it will be broken down into use case analysis pa. Na ganyan. Per ganyan. Per stereotype. And, madidiscuss po yun further. Okay, do you have any questions before we end today? So, yung groupings nyo, let me just check it out again. Anong groupings? I-up ko lang.
Ma'am, yung final requirement po ba is ipe-present pa sa'yo or just the document?
Depende sa time.
Sige, ma'am. Sige, ma'am.
Group
Ma'am,
1.
anong software nga ulit yan gamit mo? Anong software nga ulit yan? Yung gamit mo?
Asta la vista.
Okay. Sige po.
Yan yung pangalan niya. You can use Microsoft Visio ba yun? Visio. You can use Draw.io. Pero, what I really like about Asta, it is really made for creating UMLs. So, Group 1, we have Macabadbad Rasa Salgado Umayam Fabileco. Group 2, Bautista Calma Cuenca Fariñas Paragas. Group 3, Abad alias Pamatyan Perez. Group 4, Balgos Ferrer James Vallejos Yanguas. Group 5, Reyno Balanay Kalip Gagasa. Group 6, Diego Hasan Sinivasagam Gorospe Lacaden. And Group 7, Olpindo Domingo and Ilarde. Okay, so the things that you're going to do over the weekend, kasi gago ako. Charot! The things that you're going to do over the weekend is nasaan na yung aking PowerPoint kanina? Si Madam nag-desktop reveal. You're going to do your system proposal. Of course, with your title. Going to do with your system proposal. And then you're going to do your user stories. User stories. And then, you may start with your use case diagram. But my first requirements will be the system proposal and the user stories. Okay? You have any questions before we end today? Hindi po ako mangangagat. Okay, I think wala na. If you have questions, feel free to message. Wait lang, wait lang. Okay. So, if you have questions, feel free to chat in our Discord channel mismo because maybe some of your classmates will have the same questions and nahihiya lang sila. Pero please lang, sana mga walang hiya na kayo today. And yeah, I will be uploading this our class today sa ating LMSs. Tapos, ayun lang. Basically, that's it. Ayun. We'll see each other next week. Okay? Bye!
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Paalam!
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye-bye!